We are coming up. It is the final days. Let's make them count. The final days of White History Month. It is the 30th. July has 31 days. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. The top of the pinky knuckle. 31 days hath July. I don't know the saying. I just know by the knuckles. Shout out to John Saxon and my dad teaching me that. It's AD 2025, and thank you, JLP, for an excellent White History Month, as well as to Derek, the producer, and all of you contributors, you callers, and Big Bump. Oh, let me raid. Oh, no, I can't raid. Darn. But, oh, yeah, no, maybe I can raid. Set the raid. Where's Hake? Hake. See if that works. I don't know if it'll work. But it's worth a try, you know? But anyway, yeah, so thank you guys kindly. I really appreciate it. Because, you know, I don't know much about history, and I'm remiss in my duty to read. It's a shame. The spinners. What's up, Brandon, Commander Kim, Mono Chaser, Age of Inversion, salute, sir. Over there on the Rumble crew. I'm live on multiple platforms. Too many. What's up, Coffee Talk with Sandra? I was on her show earlier this White History Month. And I'm live on punchy.tv. There might not be an American Anchor Baby live stream today, but he will be here with double energy is the plan for Punchy TV. All right? Punchy TV at 2 p.m. Pacific time today. Cool. Cool. And we may be taking your calls on Punchy TV. Derek, the black producer, Derrick. Nit, the Anchor Baby. American Anchor Baby, that is. Nicolas. No H in Nicolas. And Bill, the engineer. Bill, the engineer, thought up some interesting... He didn't think it up. He thought of presenting some great and interesting information about space and our Earth, our home, given to us by God. So cool. How do I find the episode when Chase in Texas called in? LOL, lots of laughs, asks Thor Mode 9. Depends on which you search Chase, TX. Are you talking about on my show? Or on Anchor Baby? I think we note them down. It's just search the channel. I don't know what you're talking about. But shout out to Chase in Texas. I think I made him feel bad. He's white, but he's one of those whites who's like, he's got a little riff-raff, we'll call it. I don't think that's the right word. Shout out, Chase. Anyway, guys, I do disclaim everything that I say. Okay, I don't represent myself. I don't represent my views necessarily. I was on Caledonian Elixir podcast earlier this week, Monday evening, Tuesday morning for him, or afternoon for him. Morning, middle of the night, kind of. Wow, and he was up for like 20 hours or something, or more. Caledonian Elixir, a Scotchman. A true Scotsman. I don't know how to say these words. But he asked me about my disclaimer and whether the views expressed on his show by me represent me. I'm like, I'll do the best I can, man. He was asking me about stuff that I don't necessarily know about. One of those things was, for example, Epstein. I see Epstein as climate change. I don't know. And I don't care. Because I feel like I can't know. So I can't care. You may catch me caring about other stuff that I don't know or can't know. But this is not one of those things. Epstein and climate change. I mock climate change. And I mock you a little bit. Maybe less so, but maybe not that much less so, you Epstein hype believer people. But shout out. And it's funny the projection that you guys put on me. Oh, it's because you love Israel. I don't even connect Epstein to Israel necessarily. I don't know. Could be. Shout out. Naphtali. This is all part of my disclaimer, by the way. Okay. Naphtali Bennett. I didn't like him before, but now I like him. He's probably in my top 1,000 favorite Jews. He was a PM for. He was a prime minister under Israel, briefly. He interrupted Bibi's reign as prime minister, right? As alpha male. Naphtali Bennett, he's like, Epstein was not Mossad. And so somebody's like, oh, Epstein was definitely Mossad. And since he said that Epstein was not Mossad, he broke into my top 1,000. Not that I care. I'm just kind of trolling you guys, you know? Hake isn't a big picture guy. You think Epstein is a big picture issue? I think Trump is a big picture guy. I'm not a big picture guy, but Trump is. I may be a big picture guy, but Trump is definitely a big picture guy. And he sees through, and so is JLP, by the way. They are big picture guys. They remain circumspect. Men of God, right? Not moved and swayed by the passions of, protect the children, blackmail politicians, stuff like that, and bureaucrats. Please. So nice. Big picture. Huge. But you guys are, what you focus on seems important to you is a line from Cernovich on The Fallen State years ago, and that rings true. So, all that to say, I don't know. Take everything with a grain of salt. All right? And good morning to Jim in Alaska over there on punchy.tv. This show is for entertainment and general information. And I appreciate you guys, apostrophe, contributions. Guys includes gals. I had a gal on the show for 25 minutes. How can you say I don't like women? I like them. Do you like them? And this climate mess. My goodness. Big picture, though. Okay, so I'm supposed to be getting ready. So in the meantime, let me unmute. If calls coming in, 1-888-775-3773. We're going to have a fun... It's already a very loosey-goosey show over here. Look at that beautiful picture. It's not by me. This one is by me. Watch out for the bugs. You will eat the bugs and be happy. Hey, let me turn that off so you can appreciate this bug. Look at that. Is it alive or is it gone? Is it a bee? Is it a bumblebee? Or is it a... What is that thing? Let me get out of the way. Is it a cicada? It's actually cicada. No, not cicada, cicada. Cicada. I say cicada. You say cicada. I say cicada. Because I'm not familiar with these bugs. But they make a lot of noise. They ring loudly. So beautiful. Let's see if I'm yapping in this video here. And then we will get started. Now you hear the sound effects. Let me see if I can... Oh, come on here. Let me bring this... If I get that out of the way, will they be there? Nice. Very cool. Cool bug, huh? Let me play a thing for you guys as we get going. Where did you go? Okay. Yeah, it is talking. Let's play Echo in the Keys, shall we? It has a beat. And I like music with a beat because I am polluted. Not very white. So nice. We're getting ready here. Give me a moment, okay? To get my bearings. Echoes in the keys. Parentheses, beat. It's Hake AI music. How come there's a toolbar here? I think this will fix it. Nice. Ah. Complicated business, folks. We're getting ready. How's the volume? You guys kind of like this beat a little bit? Echoes in the keys. It's suno.com/@ the @ sign, the squirrely, squiggly A with a circle around it. James Anton Hake. James Anton Hake. Anton is my middle name. Don't wear it out. If you want to find my Suno. I learned piano when I was a kid. Happy White History Month. My mother made me learn piano. Take piano lessons. I was a manly kid though. All whites learned piano. The good ones anyway, the good kids. One 888-775-3773 and thehakereport.com for super chatting. All right? Super chats on thehakereport.com, which is buymeacoffee.com/thehakereport. All right? I appreciate it. Very nice. Let me refresh, get this, get that. Lots of stuff to cover. So we'll see if I cover any of it. How close are we to the end here? Very nice. Wasn't that beautiful? I think it was. Oh no, it's not auto playing, is it? It is. Stop. And so anyway, guys, cool, huh? Nice painting. Let's just get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys! So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I have one of my JLP related t-shirts on, or a Bond t-shirt. You might be able to find this on jesseleepeterson.shop, or you might not. I shall help you look. How about that? Here, let's see. Oh, no, not that. If we mosey on over to jesseleepeterson.shop and peruse the swag, it reads, "A life without thinking is an amazing life." Nope. So it's not available currently. Perhaps we need to perfect the design, but that is a cause for you see a t-shirt design that you like, jump on it if you have the ability, the funds, Spend responsibly, of course, right? Spend responsibly. I appreciate it. So let's get to some calls here. I've babbled enough. Greg in New York is on the line over here. Greg, thank you for calling and holding, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm all right.
Nice.
So, I love Trump, and I'm a plan truster, and I'm with Trump all the way, but I don't want to talk about Trump today.
All right.
I came
Are
to
you,
ask,
what plan, real quick, since you said you're a plan truster? You mentioned it. You mentioned
oh,
it.
no, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
So it's the plan.
God's plan?
No, the plan.
Q's plan?
It's similar.
Trump's
You're getting
plan? Trust the plan. That's a Q buzzword, right? Q is a deep state guy who loves Trump and children and God.
So Q is somebody who has Q level clearance.
Oh, Q is a level of clearance in the
Correct.
security
and it's also
world.
It's also the 17th letter of the alphabet. And if you notice, Trump says 17 a lot.
I haven't noticed. Okay.
There's a compilation of it on YouTube.
All
If you
right.
could find it. But he gives many speeches and talks a lot and says numbers. But we're getting off track here. But
I know.
the plan
And
is
are you millennial or
basically,
Gen X or Boomer or Zoomer?
I'm the best Generation Z.
Okay, Gen Z. It is a great and excellent generation. I have to hand it to you. Okay, cool. Go forward. Go ahead, because you didn't call about that. I don't want to bog you down.
Right. And I could go on forever about that.
Yeah.
Me and you both, because we both love Trump,
Indeed.
Anyways, so I wanted to know, and you already answered it kind of magically. Maybe you saw the note or whatever, but
No, I haven't actually.
I was going to ask. That's crazy how life works. Anyways, I was going to ask, what draws you to the music you like? Like, what are some base things? Like I think you just said you were polluted and you're starting to be drawn to music with a beat. And what else?
Yeah.
Like I can give you my answer first. Maybe it'll help you. I like music that's loud, fast, or loud and fast. So I'm into a lot of metal and subgenres of metal.
Okay.
And then any kind of Christian music is music to my ears.
Okay.
I am white, and I love Christian music. But I'll tell you what, the music you play that supposedly is Christian is testing that statement I just made.
Nice.
But go ahead.
Funny. Okay, so I like quiet music, actually. Vibes. There are these songs that are just vibes. And they might be loud, but yet they are quiet. There's this album by Frodus, Frodus. It's a Christian band, or sort of Christian related, sort of affiliated with the Tooth and Nail stuff. And although there's screaming and loud guitars and things, it's also very quiet, and it's interesting that way. And I really like Fleetwood Mac, which has like a quiet feel to it. It's just enjoyable to listen to. I have liked fast and hard music over my lifetime, and I still do. And, I mentioned getting corrupted with the beat, but there is, the black music and the POC south of the border music.
Okay.
All this type of music has grown on me a lot. There's some Sly and the Family Stone songs that I've really appreciated lately, and they just have, what did William from California call it? The third, groovy or funky or something like that. And it just is, but it has a great universal mass appeal. And a mass appeal is because I think it's simple. Simple is actually very good. Like there's this song by this gal. It goes, dun, 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 dun. So here's my number. So call me maybe. That has
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah. Carly Rae Jepsen. Happy White History Month, Carly Rae. R-A-E. She's white, right? And
Yep.
It is corrupt, I guess. A woman giving her number to a guy. I don't know if that's corrupt, but it's
It's
but
catchy.
and it's so catchy and beat heavy and dancey-ish, but yet it's simple. And people
Right.
don't.
That reminds me of Carly Rae Jepsen and Owl City, or Adam Young's song, which Adam Young's a Christian in Owl City, called "Good Time." Whoa, whoa, whoa! It's always a good time.
Yeah,
You know that
that's
song?
such a good. That's why I thought of that song, because I heard that song at, I forget where, maybe at the gym when I hit the jacuzzi recently. And I'm like, I forgot about this song. That's a great song. It's always a good time.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's Owl City's one of my favorite artists, Christian artists.
Al,
White
what's his
artist.
name?
Excuse me. His name's Adam Young is his real name, but it's Owl City. He made
Owl
Fireflies.
City. Okay, Fireflies.
Yeah.
I couldn't recognize that name. That song name. Nice. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm a sucker for pop music, because pop music has that mass appeal, and mass appeal is not just because we the masses are stupid and have very lowest common denominator sort of taste, but also
Right.
because it's genius. Not everybody can do that. There's all these
True.
hoity-toity music snob people who can make very complex a musician's musician, you know?
But
That-
they're missing the best ingredient.
Yeah, is enjoyment.
Yep.
What's the best ingredient?
All right. The simplicity, I think, is very key.
Yeah,
It's a lot of good sounding music.
that's right.
And thank you so much for sharing your opinion. I'm actually at work, so I don't have much
Right on,
time.
man.
I'd love to call you more often, but and then I'll leave you with this. Me and you were talking about Alice Cooper a bit back, and
Okay.
I told you about how he's a Christian, and he has this one song, Salvation, and I think you would like it. It's soft, as you're saying. I don't know if you listened to it when I mentioned it to you. And then I also have this clip of Alice Cooper I'd like to get to you somehow. I don't know how to get it to you, but
If you're on X,
he-
it's the Hake Report,
Yeah.
or if you're on Gmail, the Hake Report at gmail.com, or whatever. Comments.
yeah,
Whatever.
I put it in the Anchor Baby Discord, but I'll
I'm
get
so
it to
bad
you
about
somehow.
the Discord.
Don't worry, I'll get it to you somehow, and it's a maybe you'll play it, but it's a he's white, Alice Cooper. He's a musician. He's a Christian, and you're really gonna like the clip. I'll get it to you.
Right on,
And
man.
that's about it.
Cool.
Sorry we couldn't talk longer, but
No worries.
sounds like we're on the same white zeitgeist.
Right on, Greg. Appreciate you, man. Are you a
Happy- yeah.
groiper at all?
Yes,
Okay. You sound like one for some reason.
yes,
Nice.
that's me.
Cool.
All right, happy White History Month.
You as
I'll
well,
call
man.
again.
All right. Take care. Nice. Also nice, Ronnie in Ohio, who got verbally attacked, actually, in the chat by a caller this week. But what's up, Ronnie in Ohio? Happy White History Month to you.
My brother Hake, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Happy White History Month.
That's so funny. You and Jesse both have a white voice that sounds pouty and high pitched. Like you guys sound like you're mocking us. Anyway.
Well,
nice.
I mean, right there, I was only mocking one person in particular.
Right.
Obviously, I hope it was obvious that it was supposed to be Mark from Los Angeles.
Right. It was, but it wasn't the best impression, but it was definitely an impression that left a mark on my mind.
Good deal, yeah.
Yeah.
I do what I can with what I got.
Sweet.
So he called you on, I think that was Monday, and hit you with a statistic that said 1 in every 20 black males will commit murder in their lifetime.
Right.
I applaud you for having the awareness to say, I don't know about that number, and then you fact checked it and you realized that it couldn't be true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I appreciate you for doing the due diligence and fact checking him on that, because
And even when I
obviously that
don't
number is
fact
not
check,
true.
I encourage people, even when I don't fact check, because there's a lot that I let slip by that either I know is not true, or I don't know if it's true, or I may not be aware. But I encourage everybody on this show and really in life to realize that even the facts that you learn, you don't necessarily know them. So, and the stuff that you hear from people that sounds true, but it might not be. So I encourage people to take everything, take their own thoughts with a grain of salt, like JLP says. Well, he doesn't say that, but nice.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah, I'm in agreement. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that, and I echo those same sentiments. People need to not be like, oh, this is true because I saw it on Twitter or I heard it from somebody that I admire and idolize.
Right.
Somebody says something that might be true, might not be true. The best thing you can do is to verify it on your own. And I know you got a lot of kids that watch, so
Yeah.
I don't know what types of access they have to be able to fact check some of that stuff. So again, I appreciate you for fact checking it in live so that
Yeah.
they can see that it's not true. And it's also the same math that I tried to explain to him when we had that quote unquote debate. I don't think it was a debate. It was really him just yelling and being emotional. But that's the same math that I tried to lay out for you, where I'm like, there are roughly like overestimated 20,000 murders each year in the United States. So even if every single one of those was committed by an individual black person, it still wouldn't come out to 1 out of 20 black males being the ones that committed the murder.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody in the chat, somebody in the live chat on Rumble says it's okay, it's only 2 out of 100.
2 out of 100 would be 1 out of 50.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's that many even. It might be, but I don't know. I think
that's the closer.
There are probably some prolific murderers, you know, people who murder a lot. And they tilt the numbers too, because it's one man, so-called man, doing more than one person in his lifetime.
Yeah, precisely, which is why I say even if we overestimated and said all 20,000 were committed by one individual black person each time, you had 20,000 black murders walking around, all you have to do is take that 20,000 number and divide it by how many black Americans there are and how many black men there are, and you'll get the percentage. And that's why I told you that over 98% of black men in the country have never committed murder and never will. So if you're coming in contact with a black person, chances are they will bring you no harm. Even though I know people like to watch videos of violence and hyper-focus on stories where there are black people committing evil, heinous acts, and then they try to say that represents black people as a whole. It's dangerous and it's inaccurate.
Although
if they want to be in their hell, I can't stop them from that.
But it is wise to be cautious, because the risk is higher among a randomly selected black. You have a much higher risk around that than around a randomly selected other race.
Maybe not. I don't think the numbers back that up. But I'm in agreement with you that everybody should obviously take precaution, and it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
Definitely, man. Are you familiar with the 656 statistic that came out recently that I read when I was fact-checking Mark's, Mark had heard about the 1 in 20 thing? It's really 13%, 56%. So out of the black population is about 13% of the general population, and if you cut that in half, it's about 6%, because the black males are the ones who are doing it, and it's even smaller than that, because it's generally the younger ones who are doing these homicides, and so they're 56% of the known race perpetrator homicides were done by blacks in one of the recent years that the Uniform Crime Reports or something from the feds was 13% of the population blacks. Out of that 13%, 56% of the murders or known race homiciders.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens year after year. It's like right around 50%, over 50%. And it's definitely disproportionate. That's why I said that you have a higher risk around blacks.
Especially if you're black, because of that 55% of the murders that are committed by black people. I think somewhere between 82 and 88%.
Yeah.
Or of the victims are black. So
Right. True.
People like me should be the ones that are being more cautious than my white counterparts. But I understand that if they again hyper focus on certain videos and get their media and their news from certain people, they may come away with those evil feelings that Mark has. And I say that because even on Monday's call, he admitted to being evil since he was a little kid. I think he said 8 or 9 years old.
No, he doesn't think of that racism as evil. So, okay, but go ahead, continue your point.
Yeah, that was my point. Because Jesse says that racism it doesn't exist. Hating somebody based on their race is just evil. So, based on his logic, from Jesse, if you're hating people because of their skin color, it's evil. So Mark's saying that he's been racist since he was a little kid. Just putting 2 and 2 together, that means that he's been evil since he was a little kid.
But I don't know if
I know he thinks racism saves lives. So in his mind, he's been saving people's lives since he was a little kid. But if you hate certain people based on their skin color, that's evil. I'm in agreement with Jesse on that. I have a name for it.
I don't
call
think
it
Jesse
racism
says that,
and
though.
bigotry. Jesse, when people say that racism exists, he says we're not going to call it racism. We're just going to call it evil because that's what it is.
But no, but all stuff that's called racism is not even evil. He said that it's either right or wrong, good or evil. It's true or it's not true. Because a lot of times stuff is called racist for stuff that's neither right nor wrong. People have a right to it, you know? And then people are called racist for saying stuff that is true or for expressing love for, by telling the truth or whatever. And so, and the other thing is that I don't think Jesse has ever said that people hate others based on color, because people don't hate based on color.
You don't think people hate based on color?
Right.
I would disagree with you on that. I do agree with you that some people are falsely accused or falsely convicted of being being racist. That's definitely true. So there are some people that have been called racist and they're not.
Yeah.
Before those self-proclaimed racists who know that they despise and hate other people because they have a different skin color than them, that's evil.
I don't see Mark as that way, though.
I do. He has exceptions to his rule. William in California is an exception. Rick in Virginia is an exception, but the rule still stands. Even some Jamaicans might be exceptions to his rule, but his rule still stands to where if they're black, get back.
But get back isn't hate.
I was putting it gently. He definitely has a disdain for them, and that's even still me putting it gently.
Have you heard him snark at me sometimes?
Yes.
And is it that hate?
So, no, snarking at you is not hate. There's a lot of anger involved.
Right.
You won't, like, for instance, you won't agree with him on his takes on Epstein.
Yeah.
Yep. But disagreement is not hate and evil, and not being snappy at you for letting people not say Happy White History Month. That's not hate. But but the things that he does say about black people, for the most part, comes from a place of hate.
I think it all comes from his judgment. He has a judgmental heart, no different from you and me and the rest of the people. He's just kind of old school about it and adopted some interesting ideologies, and some of it is fair and some of it is unfair. But I don't see him as hating based on color. He hates based on his evil heart if he hates. You can't hate somebody based on...
saying...
Yeah, go ahead.
I disavow saying that I have a judgmental heart.
Nice.
You can speak for yourself. You can speak for Mark, but
nice.
I'm only even speaking on this topic because he...
Didn't you have a judgmental heart in the past, though, that you had to get past?
Yes, that old heart that God took away and replaced.
Yeah.
Yes, that heart had a lot of judgment, had a lot of anger, resentment towards people. I
And that
but
heart
yeah,
made you know.
that's not who you're talking to on the phone now.
That heart made you, put you in the same hell that Mark is in. If Mark is angry.
Not me, that former version, possibly.
Right.
But if I was ever in the same hell as Mark, I would have been on the side where the colored people go, I guess, and not with the white people. Because I'm sure if he wants,
Is
if
hell
he ever,
segregated?
if that's
I think
where,
hell.
I don't know.
I
But
think hell might be isolated.
If hell's not segregated and Mark somehow ends up there, it's only a matter of time before it becomes segregated. He put it that way. Before I hop off, I did want to mention two people. I guess my contributions for White History Month.
Great.
And I don't know if they've been mentioned already. James Madison. Has anybody mentioned the architect of the Constitution yet?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so.
Crazy.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
James Madison, 4th U.S. president. Wow, look at that man. He looks actually pretty manly and tough. I don't remember him looking that tough and manly. I'm looking at an oil painting, JPEG of an oil painting of him on the screen.
I got you.
Okay, cool.
I was like, you knew James Madison? I was over here mind blown. I'm like, what the heck going on?
Yeah. Also, I know what Jesus looked like. I'm kidding around.
Oh, Lord.
1751 to 1836. It's not too bad of a life. American statesman, diplomat, founding father. You have anything to say about James Madison other than what you just said, the architect of the Constitution?
Yes, for people that like the freedom of speech and the right to bear arms and us having a document that can be updated and modified so that we can become a more perfect union. In large part, you have to thank James Madison for that. And he's somebody that gets overlooked. People don't learn history, and they will very rarely study it on their own. So I wanted to mention him. People think that it just went from George Washington to Jefferson.
No.
To
We
Andrew
think it's
Jackson and then to Lincoln.
Nuh-uh. Yeah,
They think that, those are the only presidents they can name before Lincoln. So it's like, nah, there was the other guys were significant, and James Madison was significant before becoming president for the reason that I stated. And then his administration wasn't terrible. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible. But I'm shouting him out for just him being the founding father that he was.
Right on, man. That's cool. I started to interrupt you because I got all excited that we think there's George Washington and there's Abraham Lincoln. There's and that's it.
Jefferson.
Jefferson, I guess.
Yeah, people like Jefferson.
I forget that Jefferson was a president.
Yeah. People sometimes forget Jefferson, and then there are people that love Andrew Jackson.
Right. Do you?
No.
And why is that? Out of curiosity, since we're on him.
Yeah, I respect him, but I don't love him due to his lack of loving others, especially non-white men that existed during his time.
Because Andrew Jackson kind of expanded our territory and dominated the American Indians, huh? He did.
Yes.
Did he do them wrong?
Very.
Him specifically, or people in his administration, and he might not have been fully to blame. But since he was the boss, you blame him.
Yeah, I would blame him. And then I think he was the one that had the kitchen cabinet. I can't remember for certain, but I think he was the first president to have a cabinet kind of resembling Trump's current cabinet, where it's not comprised of a bunch of people that were already there. It was people that he brought in that were outsiders. I think that was him. I could be confusing him with somebody else, but you might have to fact check me on it. But I think he was the one that had the kitchen cabinet.
Kitchen cabinet, interesting. Was Andrew Jackson mean to the blacks too?
He wasn't nice to him. I can't say that he was being mean to him, but he definitely wasn't nice.
Interesting. It's so funny. I scoffed. I judged with noises and emotions when you said a more perfect union. You mentioned the word a more perfect union, because that's what a lot of these black liberals, quote, a more perfect. There's this guy who was on a Politicon debate with JLP Van Kirk, something like that. He was a writer for The Atlantic or something. Newkirk or Van Kirk or something like that is his middle and last name or last name. And you talked about changing and updating the Constitution to make it more perfect. And I imagine that you're just talking about letting the blacks be citizens and vote and stuff like that. But there's been so many changes for the worse. And a lot of this civil rights stuff. Are you pro or anti civil rights?
So I'm pro civil rights, meaning that I want everybody, especially American citizens, to have rights protected.
Okay.
So no, I'm not against equality. I'm not against my neighbors getting more freedom if they were being denied certain freedoms previously, based on whatever reason, especially if it's something that's beyond their control.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah. But the phrase a more perfect. Go ahead.
Did you hear the our coverage of? I mentioned during that segment about the White Town on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, this thing called racial, I guess, might not have been called racial, but covenants that were written on property deeds so that neighbors basically promised their fellow neighbors, hey, when I sell this house, it's only going to be, and the occupiers of this house shall only be white, that type of thing. Did you hear that?
I did not hear it, but I'm very familiar with a lot of different housing communities that were founded on those principles and had that language in their deeds, and to keep those neighborhoods, to keep the racial demographics of those neighborhoods from changing.
Right. Are you against that, or are you okay with people's basic right to discriminate and hold one another to their commitment to discrimination in the housing sales?
I'm totally okay with it.
Nice. So you wouldn't be necessarily for the Fair Housing Act of 1968 or whatever, and the Supreme Court decision from 48 that said that courts shouldn't be able to enforce that, and that's discriminatory and illegal. You would not be for that fair housing stuff.
Those two pieces of legislation in particular, I would not have been for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm still of.
Well, one's a decision, the other legislation, but yeah, got you.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because the playing field hadn't been even. Black people were denied their 40 acres and a mule. So I think if black people had been given those 40 acres and a mule and were able to start their own communities, I think it would be okay for black people to say this community shall remain black, the same way certain white communities were saying this community shall remain white, Native American reservations shall remain Native American, and then if any other racial demographic were to do the same thing, they would be okay. I don't think it was okay as it was because only white people had access to owning. I shouldn't say only, but for the most part, that's the way the playing field was. Most areas were either owned by the federal government or by white people. So if it had been legal for them to keep all of that stuff white, then I would not have been on board with that. But if there were 2 or 3 black states, or primarily where the population was primarily black, and they were able to keep those neighborhoods black and keep them protected and protect those businesses from being, I guess, integrated, I would have been for that.
Yeah, I'd totally be for everybody's basic right to discriminate, you know?
Yes. Yep. As long as everybody has the right to own stuff, then I would be on board with everybody having the right to discriminate.
And blacks were owning stuff. It was not as common, like you pointed out.
Yep, which is why I would have had it to wait at least until there was some semblance of making sure that the 13% of the population had some safe spaces that they could be in to protect. Because if they didn't have any land ownership, then no, I wouldn't be okay with the the right to discriminate. But if everybody's able to own their own slice, protect your slice. That's how I see it.
Right on, man. Okay, cool. All right, so you mentioned James Madison. Who is your other hero?
The other one is Henry Clay.
Henry Clay.
Anybody mention him?
No, I don't think so. CLAY, right?
Gracious. Yes. I don't know what's people
don't be judging.
They just do not know their history. I keep hearing all these actors and athletes and
female
KKK
actresses.
leaders. Nobody's shouting out the actual people that helped get this. I don't understand it. Good Lord.
Henry Clay,
Henry Clay.
A lawyer and former United States Secretary of State, 1777 to 1872. What do you want to say about Henry Clay? What a cool name, by the way.
The great compromiser.
Oh.
The great compromiser. He was a slave owner, and he was from a slave state, which obviously I would have disagreed with. But had I been a senator in that time and still been black,
yeah,
I would have loved working with Henry Clay because his whole thing was avoiding civil war.
Nice.
Let's find a way to get some type of legislation so that both sides can get what they truly want, and then as a country we can move forward. And there were a few instances where he stepped up to the plate and got that done, and it's no coincidence that once he passed away, we were a short way away from the Civil War breaking out.
Wow. So he was Secretary of State under John Quincy Adams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was the sixth president. So then you got to think that once Buchanan was in office, I think Buchanan was in office when he died.
Pat Buchanan?
And then... Nah,
which Buchanan?
James, the only one that was successful at getting elected as president.
Who again?
James Buchanan.
James Buchanan.
Yeah. So Henry Clay was doing things all throughout that part of his life. And he passed away in the late 1850s, and nobody was able to fill his shoes as a great compromiser and keep us out of that war.
Early 50s, actually. According to Wikipedia, Henry Clay died in 52.
Oh, he died in 52. Okay, that's good to know. I learned something today.
So I feel like I've heard of the term Great Compromise. What was the Great Compromise? Is that an American thing, or am I confusing something with something else? Do you happen to know? Does it ring a bell?
Compromise.
The Great
You might
Compromise?
be mixing up the Missouri Compromise. I don't know what would have been great. We had a Missouri Compromise, but...
Oh, am I thinking... Okay. I might... Okay. The Great Compromise, Connecticut Compromise. What were you about to say?
Yeah, I was saying he was just known as the Great Compromiser.
Okay. No,
yeah.
The Great
I don't
Compromise...
think we had an actual Great Compromise that we like. I don't think there's any piece of legislation or like an act that's called the Great Compromise. But he was the Great Compromiser, where he was able to get the Northerners, the abolitionists, to agree to including the Fugitive Slave Act. I think that was the compromise of 1850. You'll have to look that up.
Okay.
But yeah, the Southerners wanted to be able to recoup their slaves if they escaped to the north and got captured.
Yeah, because you can't have
the
that.
northern states would have to send them back.
Yeah, you can't have that type of disorder. I get being against slavery, but you can't have that type of disorder. And you're supposed to do it lawfully, if you can, much as you can.
Yeah,
civilized way.
And I would have been on the side arguing that said there shouldn't be any slavery at all. But
yeah.
That was the whole point of it being a compromise. You had people that wanted to get rid of slavery, but they took the wins that they got in that piece of legislation, and one of the concessions was to allow the Fugitive Slave Act to become law.
Nice.
Yeah, so he was able to work to get those sides to at least agree on certain things. But as I said, once he passed away, we were a short way away from Civil War breaking out. And
so you agree with me?
Nobody has stepped up since then.
So it sounds like you may agree with me. Popcorn was questioning me about, because I said that the slavery is not a reason to go to war. Like war is worse than slavery. Slavery is not good. It's not ideal, right? But war is like worse, because that's like mass killing, and you don't know what's going to happen. Like, there's no telling the destruction that comes with war, and all kinds of destruction came from the Civil War. It was not the right. I don't think it was the right way to end the slavery.
I'm in agreement with you. Yeah, if war can be prevented, that would be the goal. Now, I wouldn't say that people should just say, "Hey, let's just keep slavery and expand slavery instead of going to war."
Right.
But I would have been on the other side of the aisle as Henry Clay because he was pro-slavery. But I would have been in the same vehicle as him because he was trying to prevent war.
Right. You have to have peace, like Trump said on January 6th when he was appealing to the people who were some of them were rioting on January 6th, 2021. He's like, you have to have peace. I remember him saying that. And I totally believe and know that that was a heartfelt statement. Trump is a man for peace. That's cool.
Yeah. I agree with that statement that he made that day. The one I disagree with is if you don't go fight like hell, you won't have a country anymore. I think that pushed a few people over the edge.
Could be because people are crazy.
But the times that he iterated the word peace and make sure we keep the peace and go protest peacefully, I agree with those portions of the speech. Yeah. So.
Isn't it a shame that people try to hold other people responsible for, like, they try to accuse Trump of incitement, or some people might try to sue Hake or sue Alex Jones or sue these other people who are saying stuff about saying something, and then the followers, nobody should be a follower, will take and run and assign meaning that is not there. There's like this guy named Baked Alaska who was in the building during January 6th, and he was recording. And he was joking around, and he thought that Trump would love what he was doing. He's like, Trump would love this, but Trump wouldn't love that. So people don't think for themselves. They take stuff that you say and apply it all wrong. Happens to God all the time, right? In the Bible.
Yeah.
People misapply the
even
Bible.
to this day.
Yeah.
To this day.
What a mess.
Yeah. If people had more business to mind, they'd be able to do a better job of minding their business, but that's not the way that the world is. Too many people don't have business to mind, so they can get caught up in.
They don't have their own lives.
Spending so many time and so much energy in trying to quote unquote take down Trump or attack the people that they disagree with instead of just taking the 86,400 seconds they get and making the best of it.
Or hyper focus on Epstein or something. Get a life.
Yes, get a life, mind your business, and if you don't have a life and you don't have a business, then they can't take that statement and apply it. So I get it.
I have a super chat for you before I let you go, man.
Okay.
Elijah gave a couple of diamonds saying people don't hate blacks for skin color. It's behavior. That's the excuse they use, hating for skin color, to avoid accountability, says Elijah. And he may not have said it like that because he's very matter-of-fact in how he speaks. I've heard him on the phone. But did you get that point?
Yeah. I've heard him on the phone, too, and I think that he contradicts his own point. He's somebody that uses phrases like mud sharking and doesn't think that it's okay for white women to have children with non-white men. So if it's not about skin color, it can't be about anything else. So I think he's just contradicting himself.
Oh. But what about
like
the point?
He'll judge a white woman based on her having mixed kids, and he doesn't know anything about their behavior.
Okay. But what do you say? Because there are a lot of people who they see the behavior, and then it becomes like a trauma response because they've seen that behavior all too often among the blacks. And so they're starting to judge the blacks and be scared of them and see them as a threat. And so don't you see that do you see that it's triggered by behavior and judgment of the behavior? And then it attaches to the color?
Yes, but the issue is what they'll do is they'll let that spirit of fear that God didn't give us, they'll let that think whatever trauma that they saw in whatever video of black people doing whatever act, they'll apply that and carry that trauma, and they'll think that most black people are like that, or not all, but most black people do this, that, and the third, and that's not true. They've allowed the spirit of fear and worry and anger to control them and make their heart dark. So now they're judging people based on their skin color on the behavior of other people with a similar skin color, and that's not okay.
Have you noticed that there's a lot of blacks who they won't participate in the violence, but they will like take up and they'll be quicker to criticize the whites for overreacting than they'll kind of like take up and criticize the whites and like try to change the subject and be, well, what about how whites act? Rather than sit and watch themselves and watch that impulse to criticize and attack back and judge the whites for judging.
Yes, I've definitely noticed that. And they're the ones that play that colorism game. If somebody showed me a video of black people being violent and asked me to speak on it just because I'm black, I'm telling them that, well, one, I already condone, I already condemn any type of violent acts and heinous acts. But just because I'm black doesn't mean that I need to be able to defend evil.
Right.
So I won't waste my time doing that.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Happy White History Month, and I'll call you again some other time.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Daniel in Tejas, Texas, on the line over here. Daniel, how are you doing, man? Thank you for calling and holding.
Well, thank you for having me. That was a very interesting conversation.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah. You had talked about the American Civil War, and you had mentioned my take on it. And I just got to say, you got my take all wrong.
What did I say? And I forget.
You said Daniel's. First of all, you did say you weren't too sure.
Right.
But you said that Daniel didn't think, or he thought that after the Civil War, or if there wasn't a Civil War and there was secession, the states would come back anyway. And then you said slavery was going away on its own. I think he said that. No, I didn't.
No. If I said that, I meant that my impression of the situation I've heard from other people was that slavery was on its way out. I didn't mean to say. I never.
Okay.
I don't ever think that you necessarily agreed with that or anything. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And somebody else said that the states would have come back, let them leave, and then they'll come crawling back or something. I don't know.
Well, the way I heard it, and I think the way you said it was, I think you said it that way.
I must have said it confusingly. What a mess.
Yeah,
That's why I disclaim everything that I say, because also I'm difficult to understand a lot. Don't express myself well.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So what? Yeah. Correct the record on your take and on what I said.
Oh, okay. Well, I would hope that anyone who has heard any one of my calls would be aware that I perceive that the Civil War was of great consequence.
A what?
That of great consequence.
Yeah.
That the Civil War happened for a reason, and the result of it has. And
the result of it has what? You cut out there for a second.
Changed the world.
Okay.
The result of the American Civil War as a Confederate victory, I am of the opinion of Edward Porter Alexander's opinion that the nation would succumb to further confederacies and ultimately be subject to foreign enterprise.
Wow. Which has happened regardless, huh? Kind of. Anyway. Separate.
In a way.
Yeah.
In a way. So maybe it was largely inconsequential, and I'm just blind to it.
That's funny.
The Great Compromise you're referring to, I think you're trying to get at the Missouri Compromise, and that was a compromise for every state coming into the Union. A slave state would come into the Union.
Oh.
So there would be equal votes. You bring in a free state, you have to bring in a slave state, so they would come in twos.
Ah.
That way, it would be equal votes for the slave states, equal votes for the free states.
That was a very contentious issue, huh? Interesting,
yes.
Man. Yeah, the Missouri Compromise. When I look up the Great Compromise, this one, far left Google AI, not reliable, but says Connecticut Compromise, Constitutional Convention of 1787 in Philadelphia, resolve the conflict between large and small states regarding representation in the newly formed Congress. So a bicameral legislature with the Senate and the House of Representatives was the... but the Missouri Compromise is what you talked about. Interesting. Go ahead.
That particular compromise, I think, was between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Anti-Federalists. I think that might be what that is.
Interesting.
That's not my realm.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. James Buchanan was a doughface. I know you were talking about the President Buchanan. He was a Southern sympathizer. He was a Northerner with Southern sympathies, and he is often blamed for the sectional tensions in the United States leading up to the Civil War. He's often cited as the worst president in American history.
Wow. Really?
Really?
So he was a D-O-U-G-H, dough face, all one word, right?
Yes. Yes, it was a slang term for a Northerner with Southern sympathies.
Wow. So, okay, so do the Southerners consider him the worst president, or do the Yankees consider him the worst president, or both?
I think the Southerners look fondly on his presidency. I think he had you were talking about escaped slaves in the North returning escaped slaves to the South.
Yep.
I think he was one of the provisioners of that. And the Emancipation Proclamation was a war aim to negate that responsibility for the North.
Whoa.
So that it would hurt the Southern war effort, so that the North would not be forced by law to return slaves to their masters.
Oh, dang. So it was basically amnesty, lawlessness.
Yeah, it was basically
kind of.
It's your property is not my responsibility to return to you.
Yeah. Dang.
And that allowed the North to stop the slave economy in the South. That once they had conquered a certain area of the South, the slaves would now not be beholden to be returned to their masters.
Wow.
And that was by law. That if before the Emancipation Proclamation, they had to return slaves to their masters. It was by law.
And that law was from the Great Compromiser, partly.
By
Clay?
Buchanan?
Henry Clay?
Oh, Henry Clay. Maybe, yeah, maybe that was Clay's brainchild.
Wow. What a mess. So they wouldn't honor what's that thing where they extradition or whatever?
Yeah,
hey,
there wouldn't be extradition
yeah.
in the South.
Capture this escaped slave. Wow, so did what's her name? Harriet Tubman work in collusion with she must have worked in collusion with the Yankees amid this Emancipation Proclamation thingy? Or was it before that, or?
Well, there were abolitionists that she likely would have worked with or directly for. And the abolitionists were a lot more, what's the word? I want to say combative. Militant.
Oh,
the
yeah.
abolitions were much more militant about freeing the liberation of slaves. And the reason Lincoln was able to get into office, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Missouri Compromise. Lincoln said no new slave states in the new territories. So now the Missouri Compromise kind of comes into question. Well, what do we do now? We just let in states and we don't get an equal slave state. And at this point, Abraham Lincoln's elected to office. He's not a militant abolitionist. He's very he's not pro-slavery, but he's not very militant about abolition.
Yeah.
But his supporters are.
Oh.
And he's also elected into office by people that aren't all that militant about it.
Kind of like Trump.
He's very middle of the road. He was kind of a logical option.
Yeah.
For the North, and the South saw him as what would end their ability to maintain their institution of slavery. And upon his election, now the Confederates start seizing military assets of the Union, and ultimately culminates into in South Carolina the Fort Sumter being taken over, the only fort to not surrender to the Confederate takeover. Lincoln sends in a provision, a shipment of provisions. The Confederates shell the fort, and now Lincoln calls for volunteers. And at the call for volunteers, the Civil War begins.
Wow. What a mess.
Yeah. I feel like I've hit everything.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for having me.
Well, happy White History Month to you, man. Appreciate
You too.
your history lessons. Take care.
Right on.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
Bye. Daniel in Texas. Alex in California on the line over here. Let's see here. Alex, thank you for calling and holding. What's up?
Jakey Bear, can you hear me nice and clear?
I can.
All right. So I had a bit of a exercise in consciousness for beautiful Ronnie.
Nice.
So can you think of like one thing in your childhood that happened to you that was traumatic that's like appropriate to say on the Hake Report?
I was bit by a dog when I pointed my finger at him, my dad's dog, and I cried about it. And afterwards, for a little while there, I was nervous around dogs, traumatized. Yes.
Okay.
That's a light one.
But now you've kind of shook it off and you're over it, or you still?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes you see stuff that's like crazy, but yeah, I'm not like you around dogs. I think you're pretty well trained and good at training.
Right, but I mean, you're not like terrified of them.
Yeah, no, I'm okay around dogs.
Okay. So do you think, since that happened to you, would that be appropriate for me to get upset and wound up about, and maybe even go as far as to protest and start doing violence against people that look like you, because I'm upset about what happened to you in your past? Does that make any sense?
I'm sort of following. So let's say that I was attacked by a black. And I was jumped by blacks, as many whites are when they're raised around blacks. Fortunately, I guess for me, I wasn't. Although I probably would have been cool around them. But a lot of whites do get beat up by blacks. And so let's say I am that punk, that liberal punk, Henry Rollins, who I think he admitted to getting beat up by blacks as a kid. And that's traumatic. And let's pretend either he pretends to embrace blacks now and be anti-racist because he loves his abusers, whatever. What would your thing be? Or let's pretend, I don't know, there's a guy who turns and hates blacks because of trauma. I need a...
I'm pulling back a little farther than that. I'm not even focusing on the black part or the dog part.
Okay.
I want Ronnie to focus on, why is he getting upset? Why does he feel he even has the right to get upset about slavery or anything that's happened to other people hundreds of years ago? It's never happened to him.
Yeah.
What gives him the right to get upset about that?
Well, I know one thing. Oh no, my voice is coming back. I know that he would say he doesn't get upset about it.
Okay, but every call is whining about, whites and 40 acres and a mule. Like, I woke up and heard that for the 1,000th time. It's like, dude, are you guys still crying about that stuff? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. It just seems really outlandish for an individual to think they have the right to get upset about what happened to other people hundreds of years ago. It makes no sense. And basically,
that's true.
I don't understand how they don't understand that we don't want to be around them. And I mean, not we as in all, but, sensible whites. We just saw some couple on TV getting stomped out by 10 of you guys with impunity. Nothing happened with them, and people cheered it on. And it's like, you think that anyone wants to be around that type of behavior? It has nothing to do with color. It has to do with culture. So you guys can stick to this, oh, it's because I'm black. It's not because you're black. It's because of your terrible behavior. I don't know how much more simple to make it.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to acknowledge the higher risk around blacks. It's so weird.
Like, who in their right mind would want to be around people who think it's okay to gang up and stomp like an old couple and kick them in the head when they're down? It's
yeah.
You know, I mean, you'd probably find that stuff like in Iraq or Iran or something, somewhere savage. So I don't know. I just think Ronnie needs something to do. He's got obviously nothing going on in the downtime to be worrying about slavery and all this crap. It's just, it gets old, man. Like the 40 acres and a mule thing.
Yeah.
I think you need some new material, Ron. But we still love you, and we don't hate you because you're black. We don't even hate you. We hate bad behavior and, you know, those who don't have accountability or police each other. It's not safe to be around people like that. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I got for that. Just wanted to kind of put that out there.
I didn't ask him about the 40 acres and a mule thing. Well, it was a long conversation. Another time I may ask him what he meant by that. Interesting.
I just think it's unhealthy. I forgot to mention my main point. Like it's very unhealthy for us to be holding on to trauma, even with ourselves, right? Like you're not supposed to be upset for the rest of your life about dogs.
Right.
But
exactly.
They get a free pass to be upset about slavery, which didn't even happen to them. It's
right.
It's absurd.
Yeah, or even identify with it. It's a mess.
Yeah. How about try being Ronnie and not being black? You know, because
yeah,
I'm Alex, you're Hake. We're not white, you know. We're people. So
right.
Try being a human being instead of a color.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I have a strong sense that he does fall into the black thing. He thinks Obama was an effective and good president because he did what he said he would do. And it reminds me of like Joe from Phoenix, whom I had to ban for out of love, arm's length. You know, you keep certain people at arm's length. But because Joe thinks that Obama was a good president, and Joe calls himself a black conservative. And Ronnie is like this, he says he's anger-free. He loves JLP's spiritual message, but disagrees on, I guess, the race thing on some level. But he falls into these common statements. Oh, I need to get into it with him more on the more perfect union thing because I interrupted him on that. But that is such a he kind of plays both sides of being fair and allowing people to discriminate and stuff. And I think he's more of an intellectual and a judgmental intellectual than he may realize. It's interesting.
No, absolutely. I've seen both sides, and we're not hating on him. I don't have any disdain for the guy. It's just I don't know. I want black people to stop being black and just be themselves.
Right.
It's getting so old, bro. Like
yeah, totally.
That's why people are moving to Alabama and making their own little town with 20 people, and we're acting like it's the freaking Holocaust or something.
I know, it's so insane. I was laughing with JLP and my fellow experts today on the JLP show talking about that white town of 40 people. It reminds me of the white South Africans who were refugees who came here. Trump brought them here as refugees, like 60 of them, less than 60 if I remember correctly. And the media, people are freaking out, and even people acted like, oh, it's hypocrisy. What's that?
Yeah, I remember that one, but it fizzled out very quickly.
Yeah, and people calling it hypocrisy that Trump stopped the unchecked mass flow of so-called refugees from all over the world and let in a few dozen, or several dozen, you could call it maybe. White. I mean,
all I'm going to say is that the video footage that I saw was a bunch of thin, fit, untattooed, clean-looking people building stuff. I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. How dare they?
Right.
They're building houses. Oh my God.
Insane.
All right. Well, that's all I got for today. I guess I'll leave with one question. This is a totally ignorant question because I don't give a S about history at all.
Nice.
I noticed we only bash on like the Pilgrims and the whites and the colonizers. what was going on in Asia, like in the beginning? Did they have to conquer anyone, or is it just free to grab? Or what was going on in like Japan and China? If anyone knows.
It's an interesting question, man. I feel like there's always been, and even Africa, the people taking over South Africa, for example, are not even the native indigenous South Africans.
We've heard about that, but I mean, have you ever heard about like?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No, they act like it was one
let's
people.
Get some of our history buffs.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, Hake, I'll let you go.
All right, thank you, Alex. Take care. Wow. Okay, so Asia, China, Japan, colonies. Interesting question. Let me check for super chats. Oh yeah, I have a ton of super chats actually. Before I get back to your calls, I will try to get to you quickly. Thank you to the Rumble crew for your participation. Dustin says over there on Rumble, I found something amazing that the African people built in Africa, a church carved from a single piece of volcanic rock. Interesting. Cool. Age of Inversion says climate change is as fake as space travel. Oh, make sure you catch Punchy TV, guys. Punchy TV this afternoon, my time, 2 p.m. my time. That's Pacific, Los Angeles time. Zach over on X, because we'll talk about space on Punchy TV. Zach on X says the 3/5 compromise. Perhaps that might have been the thing. The 3/5 where they counted the blacks or the slaves as 3/5. They've counted 3/5 of them as contributing to the population for the representation of the Southerners, because they were a big population and they needed some power. It wasn't their 3/5 human. Elijah with a diamond. Guy's heart hasn't changed. Still making excuses, says Elijah. And I think that's in reference to Ronnie. So, Ronnie, you're getting questioned over here, or criticized, actually. Not questioned. You're getting judged, Ronnie. A huge super chat from Stephen from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. A very generous 10 coffees from Stephen in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Wouldn't dare sending this non-pithy coffee to JLP, but thought there was a chance you would read it because it's quite interesting. I asked ChatGPT, why the white? Why the whites? Either you read it on the show or in private, do as you will. Whoa, that's satanic. I'm kidding. I asked ChatGPT, why the white? Why the whites? Okay, welcome to the rabbit hole. Why it seems that whites are the only ones to build free, civilized societies. Okay, and I will read this on my own time. You can read it by going to buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. It's several coffees down. And I'll have to read this on my own time. Interesting. All right, interesting. And he actually asked a whole paragraph, a few paragraphs, actually. So let me read a little bit more just so you guys get the gist of it. I was thinking and trace back civilization to Cain, but he wasn't white per se, more mid like me, I think, says Stephen from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Is it because they inherited civilizations from Cain through Sumerians, Egypt, Greece, Rome, plus their naturally inspired go-getter mentality because of the colder climate, which forced innovation and cooperation and planning ahead and discipline and stuff like that. And both the cherry and on top of the root, the real strength, Christianity through the Romans. Why did the Chinese devolve into tyrannical communism? Why did the Mayans and Incas, right, went up in smoke? Why is the Islam world basically as backwards as it was back then, just with nicer clothes? Why did Africa only start to rise after meeting the Christian West? Why is the West the only one that brought free societies? So free and so rich, even the ones who say they hate the West, Muslims especially, come here in droves, risk their lives on leaky boats to come in or walk through 20 safe countries when fleeing their permanent S-word situation country to especially land in one of the Christian Western countries. Why is that? Why the whites? I know it's the spirit and not the skin. If you got truth through Christianity baked into your culture, you're going to win. Simple as that. But asking for a friend, and ChatGPT answers that, okay? You just opened up one of the most loaded and misunderstood questions in all of history. And you're asking it with honesty, depth, and a clear distinction between spirit and skin. That's crucial. So let's walk carefully but truthfully. ChatGPT being careful. Careful ChatGPT. Careful is another word for liberal woman. I shall read more of that soon. Thank you for your non-pithy and very generous 10 coffees. Stephen from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Somebody remind me to read it. Angband Art says, you're right, there should have been a warning before y'all showed that fat force of nature in the underwear ad on the JLP show. Wasn't on Hake. Wasn't me. Luckily, I'd already been traumatized by cartel beheading videos and the like, but I became concerned for the children, says Angband Art. Yeah, totally. Cesar Caesar, 3 coffees. Couple points and a question for you today. All right, man, I'm trying to help. Here, let me pull this up. See if I can pull this up. It's better, right? All right, man, I'm trying to help you out right now, laughing face with cheers. I'm trying to give you a lifeline, Hake, after you and Brigitte Macron. You said Brigitte Macron is kind of pretty last Thursday. Then said the black Maryland lady with the bodies in the trunk was beautiful yesterday. What do you think about Sydney Sweeney? Big smile. She looks like a little girl. I don't like her. She reminds me of like a white-ish version and kind of nasty version of who? Who's that girl who used to look like a 13-year-old? Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande looked like a 13-year-old forever, and now she looks like an old lady, 13-year-old. Because she had some, I don't know if it's a health issue. I don't know what she's gone through. But something about her looks terrible. I'm not saying I don't look terrible or anything, but something about her does look terrible. It's just a fact compared to how she used to look. And she didn't used to look, she looked cute if she's a little girl, but she dressed all sexual. I guess she's in her 30s, but whatever. Anyway, mildly attractive, or is she a baddie? LM blank O, Sydney Sweeney. She's too young for me, man. I can't. Oh, is that a sick mask around his face, or is that a big smile? You know what? She's probably quite stunning, actually. But I just couldn't. It was overly sexual for my taste. And she just looks like a little girl. How old is that woman? But anyway. Oh, but when you look at a person on a photograph versus in person, they're actually quite stunning, probably. Stunningly beautiful. So I'm going to go with mildly attractive, she is. I don't use the term baddie. Baddie means like amazingly beautiful, right? Maybe she is in that she's bad, not good. Because isn't she on that Euphoria ugly show? I think it's an ugly show. Like a bad, evil Zoomer show, something like that. You would think that stomping on someone's head while they're down is an attempted murder. So why did they not arrest anyone in Cincinnati? I think they arrested 2. It's tricky finding people. They all look the same, you know? Happy White History Month, bud, says Cesar Caesar. My White History Month contribution will be Bobby Fischer, youngest grandmaster in chess. Fischer, if he correctly spelled it. Youngest grandmaster in chess who became world chess champion representing America. And CJ, evil is still real, or evil is real. pointed out that women are not as good at chess as men. They separate them. There's men versus men and women versus women. And it makes a lot of sense, too, because women do have a mind game going with men and men with women a little bit, but males can sometimes have a sort of a weakness for women, so it's better to separate them, too, maybe. But anyway, he made playing chess popular, which I learned makes kids smarter if they learn to play at a young age. Yeah, when I was in 4th grade, I had a male teacher, a man who was a teacher for 4th grade. I almost want to dox him. It's like I was 9 years old. Is 30-some years later okay to say? I guess I can say Mr. Miller. Doxed. Oh, I feel terrible. But Mr. Miller taught us to play chess, and I got into chess. Bobby Fischer. There he is. So he was a boy, and now he's a man, and I don't know if he's gone now. He's not even a man anymore. He's off in heaven or wherever. Died in Reykjavik, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Iceland. Born in Chicago in 43. Died in 08. Bobby Fischer. Robert James Fischer, 11th world chess champion. Wow, just the 11th. Considered by some to be the greatest American chess player ever, exceptional talent, evident from a young age. His first championship at 14, achieving a perfect 11-0 score. 11 wins, 0 losses, I guess. Score in 1964. Whatever that is, right? Fischer's career short but impactful, setting records for age of Grandmaster title, longest winning streak, and maximum rating. Very nice. Thank you for your contribution, Caesar or Cesar. I love how he was objective by calling out the Jews, even though he was a Jew, which made him abased, also known as anti-Semitic. All one word, no hyphen, to make it seem real. Oh, so Bobby Fischer, did he talk about Jews? What? Am I confusing something? Bobby Fischer, Jews. Let's find out. Bobby Fischer, a renowned chess champion, had a complex and contradictory relationship with Judaism and Jewish people. Fischer's mother, Regina Wender Fischer, was of Jewish descent, born in Switzerland, raised in St. Louis, Missouri. His likely biological father, Paul Nemenyi, Hungarian Jewish physicist. Despite this, he rejected the religion, never considered himself Jewish. Anti-Semitism, all one word, no hyphen, to make it seem real. In his later years, Fischer expressed strong anti-Semitic views, overshadowed his chess career, they say. Numerous public statements, including that Jews were persecuting him and had invented the Holocaust. He read and distributed anti-Semitic literature. Isn't it typical? You look into these people, the most strong, outspoken, I'm saying strong-worded, not necessarily strong spiritually, I don't know, outspoken people about them, they tend to be Jewish. A lot of these white radicals, they're Jewish. So they're making trouble for this normal whites who are just quiet and polite, and we don't do anything. We're nice to everybody. We love the Jews. But anyway, he read and distributed anti-Semitic literature and praised the 9/11 attacks on the United States. Whoa. I don't know if this is true, right? This is Google AI claiming this. I disclaim it. Contradictions and explanations is criticism for the Jews, we'll say, or strong criticism, whatever. Despite his own Jewish heritage, or maybe partly because of, right? Because he knows them, maybe, perhaps. Or it's a hatred for his mother, who knows? Some suggest his speculation about his psychological state. Hostility stemmed from difficult relationships with Jewish people, his mother's abandonment, mental illness, diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. So, interesting. I did not know that. Thank you for educating me. And for another Jewish white history contribution. People getting all mad in the chat in the snake pit yesterday because somebody honored whatever. I forget who it was. Who was Jewish. That's all, man. Be safe. Everybody says Cesar or Caesar. P.S. Postscript. We love your AI-made instrumental. I know. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I thought of you. Side question. What's your favorite Fleetwood Mac track? I like, there's this one track. I mean, of course, Dreams. Everybody loves Dreams. And Landslide's great, too. And everybody loves Everywhere. I want to be with you everywhere. I know if she doesn't sing it like that. But I also like that. So I'm giving you 4, maybe 5. Say You Love Me. That's a great song. Everybody loves it. I heard it first on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, that I recall, knowingly anyway. And then, of course, bounce, 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 bounce. Nice. The guy who that guy singing songs is also good. Cesar Caesar says, well, 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 look who came around. LOL, lots of laughs. My favorite caller, Ronnie from Ohio. It's been so long, I accidentally called you Rodney the other day, laughing, sweating. My bag or bad. It was great to hear you, my brother, and I'm glad you're doing well. Happy White History Month to you, man, says Cesar or Caesar. Zachary, 3 coffees. Did you know the viruses are just a theory? It requires blind faith in the interpretations from the people profiting from unscientific processes, including using controls, says Zachary. And you're referring to viruses that affect our health, not computer viruses, right? That's a leading question. Huh. Popcorn's thump keg. A clean, lighthearted, family-friendly joke. 45 seconds that I think you'll find amusing. Shall I trust him? Virus is just a theory. I'm going to have to ponder that one. Oh, boy.
Whether you're healthy.
Hold on.
2 things in life that you worry about. Whether you're healthy or whether you're sick. If you're healthy, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you're sick, you got 2 things to worry about. Whether you're going to get better, whether you're going to get worse. You get better, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you get worse, you got 2 things to worry about. Whether you're going to live, whether you're going to die. If you live, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you die, you got 2 things.
Nice.
Whether you're going to heaven, whether you're going to hell. If you go to heaven, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you go to hell, you got 2 things.
Uh-oh.
To worry about. Original or extra crispy? That's the says the only 2 things in life that you worry about. Whether you're healthy or whether you're sick.
Nice.
If you're healthy, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
All right. Thank you, Popcorn. That was a black, apparently a comedian wearing a bow tie. We'll forgive him. He doesn't know better. Or maybe he knows too much. What was that? Mike Goodwin? Bow tie community? I don't know. I don't know who that was, but it was posted by Questlove on IG. And apparently, yeah, that was Mike Goodwin. Bow tie comedy, not community. Lord. Right? Bow tie comedy. Right on. And they wear, I scoff at the bow ties thing because because the neckties resemble like a noose, and so they're traumatized by that. Shout out. Right on. Thank you, guys. Let me check. I don't believe that there will be an American Anchor Baby live stream today. Let me double check. No, so I'll send you guys over to Punchy TV like 3 hours early. How about that? You like that? Thanks, guys, for your super chats. Mark in Los Angeles, California, on the line here. Mark, thank you for calling and holding, man. What's up?
Happy White History Month.
Hey, happy White History Month.
We're still on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to give my White History shout out to the Hall of Fame. First of all, after you take the devil John Brown out, you can replace him with a man by the name of Dr. William Luther Pierce. He was an outstanding patriot from California. He was a professor. I forgot what college, but a college out here in California. And then he moved over to Arlington, Virginia in '65 and joined Rockwell. He didn't actually become a party member, but he was, he did a lot of writing and exposing of the Black Plague, and he was a good man. Dr. William Luther Pierce. He's my inductee to the White Man's Hall of Fame. He can replace the white-hating devil John Brown, put up there by Popcorn, dummy. Okay, and
American neo-Nazi political activist. One of the
no,
highest.
he was never a member of the party.
Oh.
So they're lying already. You're reading from a propaganda sheet.
He wrote the Turner Diaries.
He did.
I've heard of that.
Good book. It tells you, what happened in Cincinnati? That's just a microcosm of the black war on white in this country. It's happening all over. They just happened to film that one. And the disgrace of a police chief, that DEI hire
a woman,
looked like a lesbo, but maybe not. And she made excuses for their animalistic behavior. I wanted to ask you, in the animal kingdom, what other, living things rove in packs, beat their prey to death while the other monkeys stand around and jump around and scream and hoot and holler?
Hey.
Outside of that, no, I'm talking about in nature. I'm not talking about humans.
Right.
But what other animal does that in nature?
I don't know, hyenas. Or you mentioned monkeys, so maybe apes, like the chimpanzees. I don't know.
Well, baboons
bonobos,
specifically.
Baboons do that. Wow.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh yeah, they'll get their prey and just tear it apart, and the other animals will jump up and down and laugh. Who does that remind you of? I mean, think of Cincinnati.
It is very animal. It is very animal-like. You're making me nervous, but it's very animal-like. Yeah, it's brutal.
You could take the black man out of the jungle, but you can't take the jungle out of the black man. That's a J.B. Stoner quote.
Is it true? Is it true though that father and mother in the home, decent, not these fakes so much, because we have a lot of fakes now, but back in the day, they weren't as out of control in the South when they were Christian and when they were more like normal Christian,
because
not
we
so
had
socialist
segregation.
Christian. But not just
They
because
were
of
segregated.
Yeah, that helps. But when they had a little bit more of a civilizing families situation.
Well, so the question is, if they're family oriented, they're less violent.
Yeah, if the father's in the home, and because the father is a civilizing force on a young man's life, and the young men are the ones mainly doing this, but the young women are going violent too. Young men or young women.
I don't know. No, I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that, but I could only say that when we had peace with black people in this country, we had segregation.
That helps.
Oh, it helps. It's the ultimate. I mean, what else can you do besides deporting them or, having a physical barrier to separate the race?
You can defund single mothers.
When God created the earth, he put blacks in Africa, whites in Europe, and Asians in China. And so we were separated by God upon birth. And the skin color to me is just a warning sign from God. Hey, watch these people, man. I've given you a warning. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
But we were stupid. The other thing I wanted to mention was Miss Sweeney, the model on American Eagle.
Yeah.
Do you know who they had about a year ago doing that job? I don't know her name, but it was a big, fat, black woman model. I guess you could call it a model. and she weighed about 300 pounds, despicable, but because of, white guilt.
Was she lounging on a couch?
I don't know. I just saw a picture of it.
Okay. Interesting.
Big fat.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Several years ago, there was this Calvin Klein ad, different from the American Eagle company. And this Calvin Klein ad that we saw on the Jesse Lee Peterson show today, and you're talking about Sydney Sweeney, who was on this American Eagle jeans ad, promoting her good jeans from her mother and father, and
perfect
jeans jacket.
Perfect jeans.
And 6 years ago or so, 2019, Calvin Klein had this big, portly black young lady who was talking about being powerful or something, and being all dressed up in like underwear. That's literally not being dressed up, but maybe that's. I wonder if that's what you're talking about. Probably.
Well, I don't know. I didn't get her name. It just compared her to Miss Aryan Beauty, Miss Sweeney, and it was just, the other thing was just despicable. They're calling her a Nazi because she has perfect genes. Perfect genes, meaning blue genes or DNA genes.
Right.
And I'm looking at it as DNA genes, and that's why the animal kingdom is so angry at her. I don't subscribe to TikTok. Just some dummy on the chat said I subscribe to TikTok. I don't. But they do run shorts on Facebook Shorts from TikTok, and that's the only reason I see anything from them. And in the Sweeney case and in the Hulk Hogan case, Satan's children came out, and some of them were white, saying that we're glad Hulk Hogan died, and we hope Kid Rock is next. And then with Miss Sweeney, they're calling her a Nazi, of course, and they're using the the right genes or whatever I said to call her a Nazi when she's talking about blue genes. But in their sick, white-hating minds, they consider what she said, perfect genes, to mean eugenics. And by the way, I supported the eugenics movement of the 20th century, the early 20th century, which said that race mixing would lead to our destruction of Western civilization. This American eugenics, I believe Miss Sanger may have been part of that movement. I'm not sure about that, but it was around the time she was popular, from about 1900 till about 1940. After World War II, with the National Socialist movement failing, eugenics took a back seat and eventually was totally disregarded because it told the truth about race, basically. But so that's what's going on in the world. I mean, what I see on TikTok with these black people hating on whites constantly, there's no way the race issue is going to get better. I heard you talking to Alex. He thinks there's hope. There's no hope, Alex. It's beyond that, way beyond that. In fact, it's only getting worse. They're teaching their young to hate us. They're indoctrinated in schools to say we're evil. Even the churches are on board with some of this evil, anti-white evil, like that witch that gave a sermon to President Trump and VP Vance. You remember in that Unitarian church?
Yeah, terrible.
I think you remember that despicable, evil woman. So the evil has actually permeated churches in this country.
Yeah.
So there's no hope. I mean, for racial healing, there really isn't.
Right.
It's only going to get worse, and there'll be more communities sprouting up like what we have in northern Arkansas, back to the land, and in Missouri. I don't know if they're going to be successful. I don't know if it's too little too late. But like I said the other day, once the white majority becomes a minority, we're going to lose all our rights. We will have no political sway. The Constitution and the Bible will be disregarded. And we'll have judges like that demon in where was that, Chicago, this Jenkins judge that was appointed by Biden.
Yep.
You're going to have demons like that running our government. They're going to have devils like Harris running our government. White puppets like Biden who are told what to do by the Black Power movement. That's basically who controlled Biden in those 4 years. It was Susan Rice, Obama, and I can't think of the others, but white liberals and Negro communists are the ones who are pulling the strings for with Biden, and it's all coming out. all of his cronies are taking the fifth, or they're not answering questions because they know it was a setup. They just caught Obama with his pants down. So he was the one orchestrating the Russia hoax. But because of presidential immunity, he'll skate, although immunity shouldn't cover crime.
True.
But of course, it was Trump who got the Supreme Court to come down with that immunity ruling for him.
We'll see
when
what
these
happens.
tyrant judges were trying to throw him in jail. But in Obama's case, that shouldn't apply.
I agree.
He tried to take out a president.
And the best president, the best candidate for president is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, he hated Trump from the beginning.
Yeah.
Obama did. He knew what Trump stood for. He knew Trump was, going to be fair and wasn't going to bend over backwards for the civil writers like every other president has done, like a coward, Republican and Democrat, even Reagan. Reagan was no hero. Believe me, he was no hero. Don't forget, besides Reagan's amnesty, he also signed Martin Luther King's birthday as a national holiday. He extended the Voting Rights Act, and he signed the Brady Bill, which was gun control. Reagan was no conservative hero. Even though people, look back and say, oh, yeah, he was great. He gave us some bad Supreme Court justices.
Yeah. Well, Trump has two.
Young to remember.
Trump has two. And I love Trump, but his justice picks leave something to be desired.
Coney Barrett sucked.
Yeah.
But in Reagan's case, I can't remember her name. It was a female from Arizona who totally burned us on affirmative action. She could have ended it, 30 years ago under Reagan, but she's a scumbag, and she wiggled her way into that position and stabbed us in the back by allowing white-hating affirmative action to continue. Sandra Day O'Connor was her name. But you have to remember, in Reagan's defense, and it may have been a setup, but he did try to put Robert Bork on the court. Robert Bork defended segregation. He believed in the 10th Amendment, and that's why our friend Biden and Ted Kennedy, another demon, who opened the floodgates on immigration, Kennedy did back in '65. Those two devils are the ones who kept Bork from getting the judgeship. Oh, but I got some good news for you, Hake.
Real quick.
Judge Bove got approved. He's going to be a federal judge.
Emil Bove, top 100 favorite Jews automatically. I don't even know a thing about him except that he's picked by Trump.
he won by one vote.
Wow.
And
approved by the Senate.
His guts. The commies hate him. He was Trump's lawyer, and he's also outspoken on how January 6th defendants were railroaded. And that's why the left hated him. So that is a bit of good news. Hey?
Yeah. Nice.
So again, happy White History Month.
Thank you, sir.
Continue on with the work. What did Ronnie say that's got everybody mad?
Oh, I'll have to return to it. I want to wrap things up. I'll tell you later, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You as well.
All right.
Bye. Elijah in California. What's up, Elijah? Thank you for calling and holding, man. Happy White History Month.
What's up, Hake? Happy White History Month.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I was going to respond to Ronnie.
Okay.
Give a couple shout-outs.
It
seems like he still has, like, that same tune about talking about being held back from slavery and, like, people are just discriminated because of their color, but never that. And then he said it's, like, irrational fear, and God doesn't give us fear. It's, like, it's the same thing as you're not going to go and hug a grizzly bear or pet a rattlesnake, It's not fear, it's just the caution that God gives us.
Yeah.
It's everyone has that.
That's called being smart.
Yeah, self-preservation, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not all the blacks, but it's always blacks. Whenever you see just people getting jumped for no reason, especially like white people, they always go for the most vulnerable. If you see that, because they're one-on-one, they're really not about the smoke, but they're pretty cowardly. They always go for the elderly, or they beat up on women, or go after children. They look for the most vulnerable. Or like Asians, they know Asians are very they're unlikely to fight back, and they usually have a lot of cash and jewelry on them.
It's a mess.
So when Biden called them super predators, he was telling the truth. You know, a lot of them are like super predator hyenas. They start cackling and laughing as a group whenever they see the people getting jumped. You know, like that video in Cincinnati. That's so common.
Yeah.
Everyone around is like, they get like off on it. They start like some kind of hyenas or crazy, you know, demonic chimpanzees.
Oh, yep, crazy.
You know,
terrible.
Planet of the Apes, I think, was based on a true story. Because you look at the populations of like Africa and India, it's so chaotic and it's very animalistic like that. And I don't think it's by accident. It seems like it's by design. You know, the eugenics. We're living like. Right now, we have the opposite of eugenics, like all the most undesirable people that are coming from filthy countries that don't work. They're the ones that are populating the most of the planet.
Yeah, and then they've made
scary.
They've made the civilized people girly as they possibly could, so that these uncivilized people look manly to our women, and so our women are going for the uncivilized, manly-looking people.
Yeah, it's demonic, right? It's like,
it really is.
Flipped on the reverse. The men have been feminized, and the women have been taught to be more masculine, take role, and but like, you know, feminism is only geared towards like white men. Like if you say toxic masculinity, and you say you're talking about black men as well, right? The feminists would be like, so like their brains will malfunction.
Totally. And you know what's funny is the Mexicans and the blacks are worse to their women than the whites are, but they can't acknowledge that.
They won't hesitate to smack a hoe, you know?
Right.
Like, the blacks or even the Muslims too.
Yep.
I mean, even the whites' ancestors, they used to keep their women, I think, in check more often. But this whole Western civilization has been infested with feminism and this idea of equality. Like, there's no such thing as equality. The Bible never talks about equality once. Not mentioned.
Except
like,
Satan did.
Different groups have different outcomes.
Satan told Eve you could be equal with God.
Yeah, you could be like God.
Yep.
It's like Satan definitely tickles the ego to get you to be go against your own best interest.
Yeah.
And usually does it through the woman first, because the woman is very, she's attracted by what she hears. Men are attracted by what they see. So when a woman, the most successful guys with women are the ones that are able to tell them, tickle their ear, and they get all wet over that stuff. But,
terrible.
Yeah, so it's you see what's happening. Like the white civilizations, and even like the Japanese and Koreans, they're not really procreating to keep their civilization going, and they are the most, I would say, atheist, but also the smartest groups. Like the East Asians.
Yeah.
And also, like, Western civilizations become very atheist, but it kind of shows where atheism and all this godlessness leads to. There's a collapsing society. You see that in Europe and Canada and America. All these Indians and Muslims are having 9-10 kids a family.
Yeah.
And the whites are not having kids, and the white people, especially the white liberals, are fighting for every other country but their own, like Ukraine or Palestine, or even it's like their brains have been downloaded with a new software. It's a mess, man. But yeah, I like to shout out Henry Ford. I don't think anyone has yet. I think he was probably the greatest American to ever live, as far as what he did. Yeah. In the automotive manufacturing. I got to wrap up, man. You're so right about Henry Ford. He's a contributor, but I got to close up in 20 seconds. Thank you, Elijah. I didn't realize how late it was. Thank you. All right, Hake. Appreciate you, man. Take care. Guys, this has been the Hake Report. No American Anchor Baby.
Punchy TV at 2. Bye.